Our good old Antifa buddies are at it again.
Well, Atlanta police are now charging 23 people with domestic terrorism after what police call a coordinated attack on a police training center that is under construction. That update coming in the last 20 minutes. This all happened yesterday afternoon. NBC News correspondent Guad Venegas joins us live now from Atlanta. So, Guad, take us through the violence that erupted. What precipitated this big clash?
Vicky, this is something that goes back months. This is a site where the police department is planning to build a training facility that in Atlanta is known as Cop City. There has been protests in the past against the building of this facility here. Now, there has also been peaceful protesting. In fact, yesterday there was some type of music festival with peaceful protesters. Atlanta police says that these individuals that engaged in the violent acts took advantage of that to go into the area. I'm going to step aside to show you behind me. This is one of the construction sites where you can see right now some of the construction equipment that was burned. The individuals, all of this was actually captured on camera. You can see more than 100 of them coming to this area, set some of these machines on fire, and then also throwing a lot of the rocks that you can see behind me were thrown at the officers that were across the street, as well as fireworks. And the police chief said some Molotov cocktails were used as well. Here's the chief speaking to the media last night.
Actions such as this will not be tolerated. When you attack law enforcement officers, when you damage equipment, you are breaking the law. And this was a very violent attack that occurred this evening, very violent attack. This wasn't about a public safety training center. This was about anarchy, and this was about the attempt to destabilize.
And you mentioned 23 individuals are being charged with domestic terrorism. The chief mentioned that a lot of them are not from Georgia. We now know, according to Atlanta police, that only 2 of those are from Georgia. The rest are from other places. In fact, 2 are from other countries. One is from Canada and the other one is from France.
Okay, so yeah, Antifa, they're back again. They're like herpes. They just won't go away. They flare up and then they go away and they flare up. And I mean, it's just incredible. I'm pretty sure the whole country is aware that we've been battling against these punks here in Atlanta for months now over the approved public safety training annex. It's going to be a massive facility in a remote part of southeast Atlanta, which is in neighboring Dekalb County, actually, a very liberal county, I might add, one of the bluest counties in the state. That one in Clayton, which are both suburban Atlanta. But yeah, a piece of Atlanta sticks into that county, and it's just been anarchy at that site for months. For those of you that are aware, a young man lost his life. He got into a shootout with the police. He fired a shot at the police. They returned fire, and they smoked him. One cop did get shot. He had to get surgery, but he survived, thank God. But I mean, it's really time for us to start taking these people seriously nationwide. We're taking them seriously here in Georgia because, you know, Georgia is a red state and a pro-law enforcement state. But as we all know, all politics is local. And DeKalb County specifically is not putting their foot down. And in my opinion, Governor Kemp needs to intervene even more. I think about 3 weeks or so ago, when we had the last attack, maybe about a month ago, I think, Kemp ordered up some National Guard troops to patrol the area, and we were fine, but that was only for 2 weeks. And time the National Guard, stands down, here they go again. And that's the bigger issue. The local government is unwilling to do anything to these punks. It's like the liberal counties and the liberal cities across this country, they let these domestic terrorists run wild. And for those of you that aren't aware, our good congresswoman from the state of Georgia, the 14th district up in northwest Georgia, a very red district, one of the reddest districts in the country, Marjorie Taylor Greene, said that she wanted to pass a resolution to label Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization. Now, as we all know, for those of us that paid attention in government class in high school, a resolution doesn't really do anything. It just is basically a formal statement, opinion from a legislative body like Congress or your local state government or whatever. And of course, the Democrats have the Senate, which they should not, but that's another conversation for another video. I don't think we're going to see a nationwide embrace of law and order until we have the proper leadership in Washington. You know, trickle down politics, federal, state, local. But I mean, it starts at home. But down here in Metro Atlanta, there are like 4 or 5 big counties in the state that the Democrats have a lot of power in because they're heavily populated. Georgia's a top heavy state. We have about 58% of our total state population around the metro Atlanta area. Over 6 million people up here in the Atlanta metro, and the other 4.5 to 5 million live elsewhere. We have about 11 million people total, so 5 million outside of the metro. But Dekalb is one of those counties that have over 750,000 or so, and it's a very liberal county. And outside of the northern part, it's all blue, and there's always pushback with the state legislature and the more liberal parts of the metro Atlanta area. And it's just a mess. This should not be going on. It's a double standard nationwide. The Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers, the January 6th so-called insurrectionists, they're, treated like the scum of the earth. Meanwhile, Antifa gets to burn cities. They get to shoot at cops. They get to throw fireworks at cops. They get to light shit on fire, and hardly anything gets done to them. I really hope that the state starts to take over. And I'm going to do a video real soon about Mississippi, how the Republicans are just strong-arming the city of Jackson because they're just a complete disaster up under mostly black Democrat control, because Jackson is a 82% black town. But that's another conversation for another video. I'm going to probably do that video tomorrow. I have to do it because that is the recipe. The Republicans need to start taking control of these liberal areas, not entirely, but judicially and through the court system. Like, they really have to start prosecuting these people if the local counties won't do it, because state law trumps local law. And I know that it's controversial. As conservatives, we're supposed to believe in limited government, but damn it, we're also supposed to be a party of law and order.
Rip them all out, root and stem.
Rip them out, root and stem. That's literally the only way. They have to be crushed. This is a terrorist organization. If the Proud Boys go to jail, why does Antifa not go to jail? If the January 6th so-called insurrectionists go to prison, why don't Antifa go to prison? Last time I checked, there weren't any January 6th rioters who were shooting at cops. There weren't any January 6th rioters setting the Capitol on fire. They just, at the worst, they trespassed at worst. But how can you really call it trespassing when the Capitol Police let them in? But we're not supposed to talk about that, are we? It's a total joke, man. And it's really sad that this is happening because Joe Biden is not supposed to be the president. We know who's supposed to be the president. We know who won that election, but that's another conversation for another video, so I digress. But just wanted to bring y'all more unfortunate news from Georgia that Antifa has fired back up. I think that the governor is going to have to make the National Guard activation of indefinite presence. They're going to have to be out there at that site until it gets built. And when it gets built, they're going to have 24/7, armed guards surrounding that place, since Antifa wants to play games. And according to the news reporter, 21 out of 23 were not from Georgia. Only 2 were from Georgia. So 91% of all those agitators were from outside of the state, and 2 weren't even from this country. How about that? But that's what happens when you have a culture of anarchy across this nation. They allow it in so many cities across the country. They bring their shenanigans down here to Georgia. This could be in any city near you. This could happen in Ohio. It could happen in Texas. It could happen in, well, I don't think Ron DeSantis would play that down in Florida. And I think Brian Kemp is serious about squashing this, but he needs to project more power. He's just going to have to, you know, strong arm Dekalb County, since they don't want to put their foot down with these punks. But anyway, guys, let's just continue to see what happens. Hopefully, the governor and the state legislator will put the clamps down. The National Guard can get caught back up, and they can start locking these people up and seriously prosecuting them and start giving them some real time, because these are felonies these people are committing. Serious felonies at that. This time they shot fireworks at the cops and set equipment on fire. That's felonious behavior. That's criminal damage. Those are felonies. So they need to spend a few years behind bars to get some act right about themselves. Y'all like the video? Subscribe. Peace.
Are you okay? Get out the street!
Got it? Will do.